Welcome back to the channel, everyone. Thanks so much for tuning in. I'm Steve. This is my wife, Liz.
Hi.
And we are back from Hawaii. If you didn't get to watch the last video, check it out in the link up here, I think, somewhere around, or it'll be in the notes below. And in that last video, we kind of showed you what like our favorite day or even just a typical day in Maui is like. And in this trip, we stayed in Kihei, which is coming to be our most favorite spot to stay in Maui. It's very central, it's very affordable, and it has a little bit of everything. So in our last video, links down in the description, we were with Liz's sister, Jenny, and we were kind of showing her all the things that we loved, like from our first time and from our first couple trips there, and we were kind of reliving those moments, and we figured some of them are our most favorite things to do, so we wanted to share those with you all and kind of talk about what the must-do, must-see, must-eat places are. So first off, one of the things we look forward to most when we go to Hawaii is eating, and that's what we wanted to start this video off with. Is
that's any vacation, not just Hawaii.
That's true. Any vacation, we are most excited to eat. So that's what we're going to start off with. So the breakfast place we're going to tell you about opens a little late, and because of that, we like to get coffee beforehand. And there's a coffee spot that I mentioned in the last video, but there's another one that's really, really nice. We definitely recommend is Amakai Coffee. I believe that's how you pronounce the name of it, but it's right on the main strip in Kihei. And
it's a little bit of a nondescript shopping mall.
Yeah, that's true.
It's not that easy to recognize as you're driving by.
Yeah, so as you'll see, once you get inside, it's really nice. It's really big and there's plenty of seating. The coffee is super good. They have cold brew, so plenty of ice drinks, which when you're in Hawaii, you tend to drink a lot more iced coffee than normal, at least for us here in the Northwest. But the coffee is really good. They have some baked good items and just a really nice atmosphere if you want to hang out there. But after you get coffee, you can head over to one of our favorite breakfast places that we checked out this trip.
Yeah, we normally make breakfast while we're on vacation just because we enjoy it and it's relatively an easy meal to make. But the first morning, since we don't have groceries in the house yet, we usually go out. So this time we stumbled on Nalu's South Shore Grill from like good Yelp reviews and so on. Like Steven said, they don't open till 8, so it was a little bit late. When we went, there was a little bit of a crowd gathering, but it wasn't anything that caused us to have to wait for seating. You go in, you order at the bar, and then sit down. And they just had like a pretty great menu. They had like your staples like eggs and potatoes and toast. They had more interesting things like eggs Benedict and some more like authentic Hawaiian dishes. They had like a fun little water bar with like different flavored waters like strawberry and watermelon and then cucumber and lemon and so on and so forth. They're open for breakfast, lunch, and dinner, and it looked like they had a really good happy hour, so we'd love to go back and check that out next time. But yeah, definitely recommend Nalu's. It was really good.
Yeah. So after breakfast, you're probably going to spend a lot of time at the beach. That's what we did most of the time. And our favorite beaches are the ones that are further south on the island, which is why we like staying in Kihei. Obviously, there are tons of great beaches on Maui, but I think my favorite beach is Big Beach, and your favorite beach is just a little farther north of there.
Yeah, I liked Wailea Beach. I really like that beach. You could walk and get like a drink at the resort. World's most expensive drinks ever. Yep. But you could walk up and do that.
If you're down in that area, one of our favorite things to do is go to the food trucks right by McKenna Beach, which is Big Beach. And if you're at Wailea Beach, you can drive down in just a minute or two. If you're at Big Beach, one of the trucks is right there in the parking lot, and then there's another one or two. I've actually seen up to 3 different trucks that are along the road there, so you could easily just walk out or drive out. If you're at Wailea Beach, you would have to drive. It'd be a really long walk, but the fish tacos there are really good. And when you're at the beach and you're just starving, they're actually amazing.
Yeah.
Dinner is what I'm most excited to talk about because This is my new most favorite place, and I think you just found this one from friends and Yelp and...
Yeah, I mean, I generally check Yelp, and I look on Pinterest as well and just see like what blogs are out there and are they all saying the same thing. And generally, if I can find a restaurant that is mentioned on every blog, I'm like, okay, must be good. We'll try that one. We hadn't tried Paia Fish Market in the past just because I didn't think that Steven would like it. He's not like a huge fish fan. But what was it like? I think the time before this that we went, you had like your first fish tacos and you were hooked. And so this time when I looked at the menu, I saw that there were like fish tacos. I was still a little bit worried that he would not find enough on the menu that he liked, but we decided to give it a shot. Yeah, so this one, similar to Nalu's, you walk in, you order at the counter, and then you just wait for like a table to open up. In our case, I don't think we ever had to wait. There was always tables open. Even
wait for a table.
Right.
Yeah, there was a line, but we
yeah.
didn't have to wait for a table.
Right, but even at like 6 o'clock at night or 6:30 or whatever, there was not a wait for tables.
Yeah. Yeah, and so they have a pretty big menu actually, and they have a couple beers on tap and
wines.
They have some wines. Yeah, so the menu is really, really good, and it's kind of an at your own pace thing. We ended up getting a couple appetizers and making a pretty big meal out of it when we went, but it was so amazing that we went multiple times, and we were really glad that we did. And their tartar sauce was like the most surprising thing, because I definitely hate tartar sauce. I'm not a huge fish fan, as you say, but I really don't like tartar sauce. But they had this homemade tartar sauce that was incredible, and I highly, highly recommend checking that place out.
Yeah, we're like condiment obsessed with this restaurant, I guess. I really liked one of their salads, and I got that with like the fish on the salad. But they had a really good like ginger soy dressing. So I really liked that. And it was like a big salad. It wasn't like you ate it and then you were still hungry.
So now that you know where to eat, we want to tell you some of our favorite things to do on Maui. And there are a couple experiences that we always go back to. We always try to do some different things, and obviously the beach is a pretty regular part of what we do. But whenever we go back, we always try to make these things happen. And if we go with someone who's never been or never done these things, like these are the things that we try to do. So one of my favorites is going to Black Rock. So if you're going to Black Rock, I recommend bringing snorkel gear, which is what we did. And you can rent it almost anywhere. My actual favorite place to rent, if you're staying in Kihei, is Maui Dive Shop. They have the best combination of gear, the best rate. I think it was like $25 for a weekly rate. So we brought that with us, and that's kind of what everyone does when you go to Black Rock. So the two most popular things to do other than sit on the beach are to snorkel around, and if you're feeling a little adventurous, you can snorkel around the point, and there's a lot of turtles that will hang out between kind of the end of the point and the other side. Every single time that I've gone, I've seen at least one turtle. And then the other popular thing to do is actually climb up and jump off the little cliff jumping spot. You'll see a ton of people doing it, so if you are getting there and you want to do it but you're not really sure where it is, just wait a couple minutes and you'll see someone doing it. And you'll see someone climbing up, so you know where to do it. But the best spot, as you see in these clips, is to swim out a bit, and there's a low point in the rocks, and just kind of wait for a wave to kind of pop you up on a ledge, and you can kind of climb up. It's really, really sharp rock, so just take your time and be careful. It was really nice having someone there, because Liz was able to hold my gear while I went out.
Treading water for my life.
But you had fins on, so it wasn't too bad. So you can climb up and jump off. It's really amazing when you're up there because the water is so clear, and I always want to do like some flips and tricks, but when you're standing up there, it's like almost confusing how tall it is because it's so clear. You can't quite tell.
How deep the water is.
You can't quite judge the distance between you and where the water is because it's just so clear. and it's really deep. It's plenty deep. You don't really have to worry about the depth at all. But I love doing it. Always have to do it a couple times.
I have never done it. I probably never will.
I'm
also afraid of heights.
Always cheer me on. And this is now the second time that I lost a wedding ring there. And I'm sure if you were to snorkel down and if you could hold your breath long enough to sift through the sand, you'd find some stuff there, I'm sure. So that's Black Rock. Definitely something to check out. It's kind of a must-see if you've never been there. The other thing that we always do some form of is an excursion with Trilogy, with Sail Trilogy.
So Trilogy, I think they have 7 boats now.
Sounds right.
But they're a family-owned company. They've been in operation for like 30 or 40 years, I think. And I think one of the reasons that we like them so much is just their customer service and the experience that they provide. Yeah. They're super friendly. The staff get to know you by name on the boat, which when there's like 40 people, that's no small feat. They always start out by serving you homemade cinnamon rolls, which is kind of fun and cute. They taste really good. Their tours, they have all different options, and we've taken sunset cruises, we've taken the ones that start in the morning, which it's a little bit early, like 7 or 8. I say it's 8, it's late for breakfast, but it's early to get out on the road. And they have like coffee and water and tea, and then they serve you the cinnamon rolls and fruit, which is really nice. They are incredibly knowledgeable. They provide sunscreen on board. There's bathrooms. They're just really friendly and fun. They'll tell you about the different islands as you're going out to whatever spot you're going to snorkel or snuba from.
So this particular tour was the Molokini Snorkel Tour, which starts at either 7 or 8 a.m. We did the 8 a.m. option. When you get on board, they have a few different options for you for breakfast and drinks. They have coffee, they have some fruit, and maybe some other options. But the highlight is definitely the cinnamon rolls, which they bake fresh in the morning and top with icing, and it's a great start to the day. As you head out to the Molokini Crater, they kind of go over all the safety things and get you ready for the day, and then you just enjoy the ride out and take in all the sights, and all the staff are super helpful and nice and kind of give you a bit of a history, and you can ask them all sorts of questions, and they actually really enjoy talking about it. And if no one asks them, they'll just kind of start telling you about the islands. I'm always one of the first to get in the water and try to be the last to go out, so everyone kind of phases out and they'll do snorkel and snuba. We didn't try the snuba, we just wanted to snorkel, and they'll give you 2 safety options. Liz wears the belt, which is the most flotation, and then there's the vest, which actually has no flotation, but if you needed it, you could blow into the tube and it inflates. So because I want to dive down, that's what I chose, and because Liz wants to stay at the surface, she chose the belt. The snorkeling is really cool. The clarity of the water and the just different fish that you can see. It's really a cool experience, and the crater itself is such a unique place. One of the other really cool things about Sail Trilogy is that they go with pretty small crews. So whereas a lot of the other tours you'll be with potentially 100 people or more, our boat was about 40 or so people, and when you're snorkeling, it's much more enjoyable to not be side by side with people the entire time. You feel like you really can get out and explore. I don't know if I'd recommend the snuba experience. It is pretty cool to be able to stay underwater, but you're also kind of tied to being with the group, and I like to just go and explore and go from side to side and kind of go wherever I want. So that's why I don't think I would recommend snuba. After the crater, you actually head back towards the main island and you head towards the McKenna area, and it's this spot that most people call Turtle Town, but it's actually just the McKenna coastline, and there's these lava tubes that come into the water, and that's kind of what you're snorkeling around. So it's a really cool thing to check out underneath the water. When we got there, one of the people who kind of goes out and checks the water and sets the anchor beforehand found a shark, and since I was the first in the water, she called me over and kept pointing to it, but I wasn't sure what she was pointing to. And it wasn't until after I dove down for the first time that she was saying that there's a shark in there. And she said that it was a small shark, 3 or 4 feet. And so I was willing to try to get down there and see it, but it was in this little cave and couldn't really actually get a shot of it on the GoPro, but it was cool to see in person. As other people kind of made their way to the spot, I kept heading towards the shore to see if there were any turtles, and to my amazement, I just kept seeing turtle after turtle, and it was a really cool time because we've done this before and only seen 1 or 2 turtles, and I think this trip we saw 6 or 7. I didn't know it at the time, but this is about when my GoPro started taking on water, and you can sort of see it in the corner of the lens. But shortly after this point, I noticed the camera froze, which is not uncommon. And when I got back onto the boat, I kind of waited, let it dry off, tried to turn it back on, but it just wouldn't turn on. At some time later, when everything was completely dry, I swapped out the battery, but that's when I noticed that my GoPro had taken on water, and so I only got a little bit of iPhone footage for the rest of the trip. So if you need a little break from the beach and the water, there's a lot of really cool hikes that you can do. One of our favorites, again on the south side of the island, is a hike that we just call the McKenna hike. It's at the end of the road that you take to McKenna State Park, so just keep going, keep driving down, and eventually you'll get to this parking lot, which is the end of the road, and it's this really cool cove, which I've actually seen some people snorkeling in, but just be careful as you're going down the road. There's locals that live down there that you should give the right of way to, and there's some really narrow spots on the road, but it's worth the drive down. It's a really sacred site, and it's this route that King Kamehameha used to use, and there's just a lot of history there, but it's really unique and different. It's this lava field, and you actually kind of hike through this matted down trail through the lava rock, but it's still really sharp and really loose, so be careful. But just check out these clips. It's a really beautiful experience. first time we've actually done it all the way down to the beach at the end. It's like 2 hours total. What do you think? What's some advice for people who are gonna do it?
Definitely follow the recommendations on footwear. Do not go in your flip-flops. The lava rock is super sharp, and make sure that your shoes are really stable because it takes much longer than it would normally take to go 2 miles or more than 2 miles to the end of the trail because the footing is so unstable. You're just walking on loose rock the whole time. Because of that, you have to pay like really close attention to the rock that you're walking on. So if you want to stop and take in the sights, just plan for extra time. Make sure you have water and sunscreen. Also, we took a photo of the trail of the map of the trail before we left. You're not guaranteed to have service out there, and the trail diverges in a couple different spots. So you want to make sure that you're following the correct fingers of the trail. The first time that we did it, we did not follow the correct fingers, and so we saw a couple other people today making the same mistake. So just watch out for that.
Might end up at the lighthouse instead of the beach if you don't follow the trail correctly. But biggest thing is that you have to shoot left off the main trail to actually go to the beach, which doesn't seem like it. It doesn't seem like you should, but that's how you get there. So
the end, I would say, it doesn't look that much different than some of the other inlets on the trail. So if you have a huge desire to do the trail, just know that might affect your decision whether or not to go the full distance. But I mean, it was still really beautiful, and I'm glad that we did it.
And it was cool that there was no one else there, so that's pretty cool. But we
saw so many goats. They were so cute, little babies and families, and adorable.
Yeah, it was pretty cool. But we're pretty hot, so we are going to wrap up and head to the beach.
Tacos and cold drinks.
Tacos, drinks, and beach. It's a perfect day in Hawaii. All right. Once you finish that hike, you can actually hit that food truck on the way back because you'll pass by it. So if you need a little fuel afterwards, you can hit those food trucks. But before we wrap up this video, we got to tell you about some of the most kind of scenic spots that you have to stop by, and they're some of my favorite things to do, even though we're not really doing much there. We're just kind of going to see something. But the first one is Huaqipa.
Yeah, so when you go to Huaqipa, which is outside of Paia, you can pull up into the parking lot. There's an overlook spot, which is really cool, with a lot of surfers who are surfing. It's really fun to watch them. And then if you head down onto the lower level of parking, which you can walk down there or you can drive. We walked. It might be easier to do that just for parking reasons. But it looks like there's a bunch of stones on the beach, and as you get closer, you realize it's actually turtles.
Yeah.
I mean, like 30, 40, 50 turtles can be there at any given time. Little baby turtles and like larger turtles. They're coming and going into the water, which is super fun to watch. It's all like roped off, so you can only get so close to the turtles in order to protect them. But it's a really fun, unique experience to go again. And we sound like we're obsessed with turtles, but it was fun.
It's definitely one of the unique things about Hawaii. So one of the other places we definitely recommend you see is actually one of my favorite places to stop, and it's Honolulu Bay. So if you like snorkeling, there's actually a really cool spot that's a bit off the beaten trail. It's one of my favorite parts of the island to visit because it's right near Honolulu Bay, which is a really cool spot to watch the sunset and also just catch some surfing. But right before you get there, if you're coming from the Kaanapali area, is this little cove that we're about to show you. So I think you'll like it. Those are some of our favorite things. We're going to leave you on a nice, beautiful Hawaiian sunset from the Honolulu Bay lookout. It's an absolutely beautiful place to watch the sunset, and it's a great way to end this video, and we can't wait till we go back. Thanks so much for watching. If you like this, hit the like button, and if you want to see more, hit the subscribe button, and you can hit the notification bell to be notified when a new video posts. Thanks so much for watching, and see you next time.